some political commentary, all kinds of good stuff. And we're both former certified NRA certified instructors, which we are in the process of trying to reobtain. I'm a military veteran.
I'm a security contractor.
So we have some experience in this kind of thing. So we like to bring that experience to you. We like to have a fun and informative way for us to talk on a local level about stuff that we're passionate about. And that's, you know, everything.
Firearms related.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So, man, we've had a crazy couple of months.
Yes, we have. There's been a lot going on, even on our end. I want to say hearts and prayers go out to the loved ones in the Florida bridge collapse today. That was a terrible accident, but, you know, God, you know, we all move on.
Right.
You know, but we still got thoughts and prayers for them.
Yeah.
Need to outlaw bridges.
That's what happens.
That's what happens with shoddy when your steel comes from China.
Well, hey, I thought that you were supposed. I thought when you hired these, you know, government subsidized, like, you know, building inspectors and engineers and stuff like that, you weren't supposed to have. That was the whole purpose of getting government involved in building bridges, right?
Well, apparently they had shoddy craftsmanship somewhere or something.
Yeah, it could happen. But you know, we wanted to also give a couple of shout outs today. So we've talked about it before, but FN is they've been our best friends through this. We don't get paid for this. We don't have any sponsors, but they send us all kinds of cool stuff: hats, shirts, lanyards, stickers, all kinds of stuff. So they've been really great, and we try to do some giveaways when people like, comment, share on our video.
Yep.
So like, comment, share. We do random drawings. Pretty much here they've been at random. So when we do that, if we pick your name, we'll contact you, and we'll get your information. We'll send you out some gear, a hat or a shirt or both, or, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll get something out to you. So FN, great company, great customer service. Their marketing team has been outstanding to deal with. Their weapons are definitely higher end, top tier quality. FN's known for their barrels. They have some of the best quality barrels.
They're cold hammer forged steel barrels, man. Like I said, my FNX, when I put that Colt match ammo through it, I mean, it was getting groups like you would out of a high-end 1911.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So FN, definitely a great company.
I want to talk about these guncarrier.com. They supplied the T-shirts, and also a big shout out to Guns and Ammo. Guns and Ammo got aboard. This week, I just got these today in the mail. They gave us a great discount on their magazines, and I got a 2-year subscription. The Deplorable General did. So, I mean, excellent. At least we got some literature.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So, just want to get those shout outs out of the way, you know. Like I said, we don't make any money off of this, but we definitely have some support at different levels, and it really does. If nothing else, it's a good morale boost for us.
Exactly.
To know that there are people watching, and there are people that care, and there's companies out there that really they have our backs through all this.
And we do appreciate them. We can't give us enough thanks. And FN's been around for 128 years.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know,
definitely, if you're in the market for a new firearm, their guns are definitely nice. And if you're considering the Glock 19 market, or, you know, the SIG P320, or the CZ P10C, or the Beretta APX, or the HK VP9, then also throw the FN hat in the ring with the
FNS or FN 509.
Yeah, both are great guns. But
and they're underrated.
Yeah, and
for some reason they're underrated.
509 is an outstanding striker fire.
And the thing about it is, guys, and we're not just saying this about 509. We're not just saying this about FN. Guys, they got it right.
Mm.
Okay, my FN that I carry is got the same grip angle. They give you interchangeable back straps, and I got the flat one on there. And guess what? It's the same grip angle as my 1911. So I didn't have to send it to roll bar. I didn't have to do any of that, and pay to have the gun built to my specs. It's right here, right now. It's in a holster. All I had to do is just buy a holster for it and throw it on my hip. That's all I had to do.
So tonight, we have some stuff prepared for you, and I'm just digging through my notes here just to kind of get refreshed. But basically, we're going to talk about deadly force. We're going to talk about the deadly force triangle, which is the requirements that need to be in place in order for deadly force to be justified for, let's say, the average person. We're going to define deadly force for you. We're gonna give you statistics on why it's important, because at the end of the day, on the political spectrum, in the political arena, there's a lot of discussion about banning our guns and taking our guns away. I don't care what people say. They're coming for them. They want our guns. They want all of them. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment. Look, whatever. You're going to say I'm fear-mongering? I don't care what you think. At the end of the day,
they're coming for your guns.
Okay, so in order to combat that, you can't just have a fiery passion for your guns. You can't just come at it, oh, they can have my gun when they pry it from that cold, dead hands. Hey, I'm right there with you.
I'm right there with you, but you got to make the phone calls, guys. You got to email.
And you got to know why these guns are so important. You also have to know how to act responsible with them, because really at the end
of the day, when you hear about these people shooting a gun through their house, and trust me, guys, there ain't one of us sitting over here that ain't had an AD. We've all had accidental discharges. The thing about it is, no one was hurt. The gun was pointing in a safe direction, and it just happens. Okay, when you're working with guns, you're gonna have an AD, but that's usually with us, it's the gun's fault. It's carbon buildup. It's something that we don't realize. It just happens. But here's the thing. I can count. Me and him can count on our hands how many ADs we had. And we learn from them.
Yeah,
and there ain't
erectile dysfunction, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's ED.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So, the other thing is, though, the idea with great power comes great responsibility. Right? It comes Spider-Man, right? Or Shakespeare or somebody. So there's no difference in anything else and gun ownership. That we have to be responsible with our guns. There's things that we can do and we can't do. Now, there's this huge debate. Just like in the gun community or in any community, you have all these debates about, 1911 or Glock, or 9mm or 40 or 45.
45, yeah.
We have AR and AK. And you know what? Sometimes we like
10mm and 40.
And we like to jump into those debates sometimes just for the fun of it. Because we like
AK and AR.
Right. We like to jump in and just raise hell, and that's what we do. And a lot of people get into those debates for that very same reason. But one of those debates that I take serious, that I think that we might spend an episode on sooner than later, is the talking about open carrying versus concealed carrying. Now, look, we're not going to talk too much about it right now, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna dive into it. Maybe a good half hour. We'll dissect the arguments and we'll really try to bring you the facts on it. But look, here's my point, though: I will open carry sometimes. I usually conceal, but I open carry sometimes. And when I do, I usually dress nicer. I'm usually well groomed. I try to go out of my way to be more polite. I try to open doors for people. I try to smile more, and not in a crazy way. And the reason I do it is because I want people around me to associate a firearm with somebody who was good and positive. They had a good positive experience and interaction with somebody, and they notice a firearm, and instead of feeling uncomfortable, they feel comfortable by it, and now they associate that comfortable feeling with a firearm the next time they see it. So that's my hope, okay? So the whole point in talking about that is that, like, it's our responsibility in the community to be smart, okay? Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about, but the use of deadly force is really the biggest.
I want to bring something up while he's going still through this paperwork. Law enforcement has a gray area, and they can actually do offense. Okay. Now this is strictly hearsay. I was out of state at the time this took place in Arkansas, but this did take place in North Rock, Arkansas. And the backstory was they had a dude that opened fire on a police officer. The police officer did live, but he was severely wounded. And he's on permanent disability because of it. And the cop was just there doing welfare check. The dude walked by thinking the cop was after him. He lit him up. He shot the cop up in the car. And like I said, this whole thing's hearsay because I was out of state at the time. Dude's grandmother, who lived in the apartment complex, told me all about this. All of a sudden, probably about a month later, they got the guy. They knew where he was at, and they didn't even bother arresting him. Yeah. As soon as he got in a breezeway, they sniped him. Wow. And like I said, whether they said it was a cop, gang related, whatever the backstory was, we know that the police did that. Right. I heard enough before I left Arkansas to know that the cops did that.
And they didn't get in trouble for it.
And they didn't get in trouble for it or anything like that.
So at the end of the day, right or wrong, law enforcement does have a different standard than people. Now, technically, I learned the deadly force triangle, which we're going to go over here shortly, when I was a military police officer in the Navy. And we had to memorize the deadly force triangle. We had to recite it just like that because that was our justification. If we had to shoot somebody, we had to be able to reasonably identify each of these elements.
And a threat.
Right. So here, you want to read the just the definition?
Definition. Yeah. Deadly force means the force in which reasonable persons would consider likely cause of death or serious bodily harm. It may be justified under conditions of extreme necessity when a lesser means has failed or cannot be reasonably employed. A protective force officer is authorized to use deadly force if one of the few following circumstances exist.
So those circumstances, we're not going to define them just in the interest of time.
No, we're not going to. Guys, you go on all kinds of YouTube videos. One that really comes to my mind that happened that really touches on it is the Tulsa liquor store robbery. Guys, that debunks, well, if somebody's not trained enough to handle a gun. These two women were obviously not trained by anybody, and they still stopped the threat. Right. Yes. Now, did they do it the way we would train? No. Right. But guess what? They got shots on target, and at the end of the day, the bad guy's intensive care. End of story.
So the three elements to the deadly force triangle, okay? These are the three things that if any of us are in a situation, we have to draw and use our gun. Now, it doesn't have to be on video per se. You don't necessarily have to have eyewitnesses. In a court of law, you have to justify these three elements, okay? Number one is capability, okay? The capability is defined as the ability or means to inflict death or serious bodily harm, okay? So capability would be somebody having a gun, okay?
Or a
knife. Or
a tomahawk.
Whatever. I mean, but let's just say for our example, somebody has a gun, okay? They have the capability of inflicting death or serious bodily harm. The second element is opportunity. And that's defined as being established when a weapon or explosive device is in effective range to cause death or serious bodily harm to persons or assets. Okay, so again, this is somebody's got a gun with capability. Opportunity is they're standing in a distance that actually is a threat to you. If somebody's got a gun and they're like a handgun and they're standing 600 yards away,
they're not a threat.
They're not a threat, so that doesn't exist. Okay, but then the third element, and this is again kind of important, is intent. Okay, so we have capability, opportunity. The third one's intent. And intent is defined as the willingness to cause death or serious bodily harm demonstrated through aggressive actions or lack of compliance. So this is where we kind of have some gray area.
Big time.
And this is where you really have to be careful because you as a reasonable person simply have to perceive the intent. And not necessarily, they don't have to say, hey, I'm going to kill you, or you could just sense aggression from this person, and they have a gun and they're standing near you, and you could perceive intent that they're going to hurt you, and you're going to get away. Evan just shared a video with me with this bail bondsman. The girl got away with murder, if you ask me. She was charged with murder one. She was a bail bondsman. I don't know how you do it, but she rescinded the guy's bail. Like halfway through, she decided that she didn't want to pay the guy's bail anymore after she had already paid it. And the guy, she called the cops. The cops were going to come, and the guy said, no, you're not putting me in handcuffs. And he got up and he walked to the balcony, which was behind her desk. She ran behind her desk. She opened the drawer, grabbed a gun out, turned around and shot him point blank in the back. In the freaking back. Now, there's a GoPro video of this, and the son's like, Mom, you shot him. And she's like, yeah, I did. You know, look, hey, if this was a self-defense situation, like, we've been in situations, and you're shook up. It's not no nonchalant, yeah, I did. Like, no,
she did that before, brother.
She hated this dude and wanted him dead, and she put a bullet in his back, and she planned it because she took the time to get up, walk to her desk, open her drawer, and put it. So
that ain't the first time she did that, brother. I'm here to tell you. That ain't the first time she shot somebody.
She got off. She got off of it. The jury acquitted her of it. And it's crazy to me. But we look at the elements: capability, opportunity, intent. Okay, he was nonviolent. He was having a casual conversation with the woman and her son.
But at the end of the day, that when they told him, well, here's the thing. Yeah, true on the video, but don't forget, she also has a badge. So she could write
she's
that.
A bail bondsman, though.
Yeah.
She's not a cop.
She's not a cop. No, she's not a cop.
I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't have some authority, but in the same token, even with a badge, technically these elements.
No. Hey, trust me. I'll be the first one.
And you just look.
I've seen it all.
Intent, right? He was having a casual conversation. He showed no aggression towards her. He got up and walked towards the balcony. Okay, so you could argue that a police officer, because he wasn't complying, a police officer might have some grounds to however, he also didn't have opportunity or capability. He was on the other side of the desk.
I mean, like I said, I'm not arguing.
And he had no weapons. He was wearing a tank top, and he was facing the opposite direction. I mean, he wasn't like facing the opposite direction, like, let me find something to. No, he was on a balcony. Like, what's he gonna hit her with? A pigeon turd? I mean, at the end of the day, but you look at that situation. Now, this woman got away with murder, and she didn't have those things there. So, hey, look, it happens. It really does. There's some times where people get away with it. But if you have to use your firearm, if you have to use deadly force.
There is a manager somewhere right now at a Waffle House in Arkansas who used to have a jewelry store. And what happened was he was robbed. He used a .44 Magnum. Now, if he used a .44 Special, I don't think it would have did as much damage. But he used a .44. One shot, one kill, killed a guy right there in the doorway. The bullet went through the bad guy, went about 2.5 blocks, hit an innocent bystander.
Holy cow!
Sitting in the middle of a Ford pickup. In the bench seat of a regular cab pickup, went through the back window, made this poor innocent person a quadriplegic.
That's crazy.
He's paying for her for the rest of his life. If she ain't already dead, he's paying for her mom.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people, guys, and this is, you could, you know, like I said, this was a story that was told by a cop to me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that jewelry store became a pawn shop. Now it's something else. And the guy that used to run it works over at Academy Sports down the street from the place.
Wow. Well, you know, so just keep it those three elements in mind, folks. And if you're curious about learning more about the deadly force triangle, just Google it. Capability, opportunity, and intent. Okay. So if you have to use your firearm in self-defense, you better you better be thinking about what was the person that you just killed. What was their capability, what was their opportunity, and what was their intent? And you better be able to articulate those things clearly, because that could be the difference between you going away in handcuffs and you getting to go home at night.
And trust me, guys, and you are responsible for everything you put downrange. You got to look at it. For if I miss, for every bullet that does not hit its target, that is one lawyer.
Yeah.
That's one lawyer.
That's why one of the essential rules of firearms is know your target and what's behind it. Right? I mean, that's an essential rule of firearms. Again, eventually, I think we're going to probably dissect that a little bit. We're going to go over like range officers and
we'll do video.
Yeah,
we'll do a video.
So we're going to do that. That's to come, but that's a basic rule. So again, look, we're not going to go over the basic firearm rules tonight, but if you don't know them and you cannot recite them by heart, you need to Google the basic rules of firearm safety, and you need to look at those and read them and remember them, because those rules are going to get you out of a situation that you don't want to be in, okay? Because, again, if you're the idiot that kills somebody and you shouldn't have, guess who you give a bad name to?
Us.
Law-abiding citizens. If you're the idiot who shoots through your wall, or whatever
shoot
the case may be,
through the front door and not know what it is.
At the end of the day, you make all of us look bad. That's why we're bringing this to the table tonight. So, just some facts. So, the CDC and FBI have some kind of conflicting numbers, but it's estimated in between 70,000 and 700,000 defensive firearms
700,000
a year, and it's actually there's been some studies that claim as much as 2 million defensive gun uses a year. I'm going to go on the conservative side and say that it's in the hundreds of thousands.
Yes, well, and a good point of that is I've been in a situation in my own house where a guy charged me.
Yeah.
This happened in Arkansas. Guy charged me, and he was running at me. Mm-hmm. I drew my .45, didn't even fire one shot, and he ran away from me faster than he did at me.
Did you call the police?
Yeah.
Okay.
Non-emergency number.
So,
I knew the cops.
Right. Well, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why these statistics are skewed, because there's a huge percentage of
How many of those people did not have to pull the trigger?
Or they don't even call the police because they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble.
No. Well, here's the thing. You got to understand something. When the police rolled up on my incident, I had a 12-gauge Mossberg in my arms. But the cops that knew, I called the non-emergency number. I even shot with the dispatcher.
Yeah.
Was part of my shooting team. So it wasn't, it wasn't like...
But that's why these statistics are skewed sometimes, is because you have people who are afraid to even call the police because they didn't shoot somebody. Like you said, they drew their gun. So we don't have necessarily accurate numbers.
Well,
so I'm willing to bet it's in the hundreds
the thing
of
about
thousands.
It is, also, that goes to show, are they even allowed to have the gun in the first place?
Yeah, it could be. But look, every time I drive by a police officer on the side of the road, I hit my brakes. And I don't care if I'm speeding or if I'm not speeding or if I'm driving.
It's a natural habit. It's a natural habit.
So
I touch my brakes too.
As a society, we kind of have a natural tendency to be leery of getting
we've seen
the
what
police
bad
involved.
things happen.
Right.
I mean, we see what.
29% of households with a defensive gun use reported more than one in the last 5 years. Meaning, basically, these people have had 29% of the people that had to use their gun in self-defense have had to use it more than once in a 5-year period. That's huge. That means that there are bad people out there.
Well, I would tell 2 minutes. I would tell students of our concealed carry class, guys, don't leave your gun at home for out a year. Car keys, wallet, gun. And I would drill that into them because I would tell them within a year, the likelihood of you drawing that weapon is very, very high.
Yep. 24% of defensive gun uses involved defenders firing weapons. So only about a quarter of the people who used pulled their gun actually had to shoot. Only 3% of defensive gun uses involved exchanging of gunfire. So that in the gun community, you have this idea of I have to be able to draw my gun as quick as I can and pull the triggers. Hey,
all right, shoot yourself. I've never seen a stop fight. I've never seen a stop watching a gunfight.
So look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't train that way, but only 3% involved.
Guys, like I said, that liquor store robbery is that 0.2% of robberies. Okay. 3 seconds.
53% of cases had multiple offenders. So 53% had 72% occurred in and around the defender's home. That's most of them occurred around somebody's home. In a state sample of inmates stated that 34% have been scared off by firearms. So we are, we're cutting down. Let me just throw a couple more stats out there real quick. The live shows are we're gonna stream for a couple more seconds. 28% of guns confiscated by police were unloaded. Okay, so again, talking about speed and the bad guy, this is the police took a gun from the bad guy. The gun was not loaded.
Yep.
28%, that's huge. 5% were less than fully loaded, and 2% were loaded with the wrong caliber ammo.
And by the way, I want to get onto that. Guys, and this just for litigation's sake, do not mix ammo up in your gun. If you carry Remington Golden Sabers, you stick with Remington Golden Sabers. If you carry Gold Dot, carry Gold Dot. Make sure all your ammunition is the same. There's only a few circumstances where you can mix ammo and they wouldn't look at you as a bad guy.
57% of firearms were fully loaded. So again, more than half, but that's still, you have a 43% chance. Now, 41% of firearms were non-functional, either meaning that they had no ammo or they were broken.
They were broken.
Okay, so that's huge, guys. That's really huge when you look at these statistics, okay?
Yep.
Real quick, we got a couple more, and then we'll finish up here. 20% of cases could not be determined with the info available. So this is... this is the legality of it. So this is like if somebody shot somebody in defense. This is what happened. Whether was it legal, illegal, so on and so forth. 20% of cases couldn't be determined legal or illegal with the info available. 51% of the cases were rated as likely illegal. 43% of the cases were rated as likely legal, and 6% of the cases had no majority opinion. Okay, so it's about 50% of the time, people. Again, that's huge. That means half the time where people shoot the bad guy, they shouldn't have. Okay,
Nope.
That's important. That means half the time people are going to jail, and we don't want to see that. Okay,
Nope.
That's a big one.
That's why we did this video.
Exactly. So those are the numbers, people. Look, at the end of the day, it's important that you carry a gun. It's important that you learn how to use that gun. It's important that you train with your gun. You train at home. You train with your family. You have a plan. You have to train hard. You have to train smart. But you have to know what you're doing. With great power comes great responsibility. So, anyway,
I'm Evan.
Deplorable
General over and out.